Welcome back, everyone, to the North American Tournament Legends 3 here, hosted by DPS. Once again, I am Hurix, joined here by Storm. We do have the next match ready to go for you guys. This will be Cunning Stunts versus Rock Crash here. Cunning Stunts, obviously, Team Risk, Risky Business, Cloud Gaming, whatever you want to call them. The team that has been around in ESLs, trying to contend with Abjurd for quite some time here. And it looks like this is going to be a pretty solid match here. We do have Rock Crash kind of coming out of nowhere, really showing up. I believe we talked about them a little bit on Wednesday, Storm. But they came all the way through here, and I think they're going to be giving this Risk team, this Cunning Stunts team, a little bit of a run for their money. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely. So this Raw Crash team is pretty strong. Not as I thought there were different players on this team, but looking at them, I'm very surprised they made it to the round of 8. They're definitely strong, no doubt, but Team Cunning Stunts going to give them the best that they've seen yet in this tournament, as they are definitely one of the more dominant teams in this NA scene. So looking forward to both of these teams. Going to be battling it out here and seeing what Raw Crash can bring to the table.
Yeah. Why don't we go ahead and get into the game cams here? It looks like we have members of both teams kind of piling in a little bit here. I think we're waiting on Cade to go ahead and get back, but he'll be back in just a moment here. But looking at the comps here, we can see as if we just add Cade in our minds, from this red team versus blue team here, Raw Crash versus Cunning Stunts here. What are you thinking just from an objective perspective? How do you think this game is about to play out? And we do see Cade actually joining up, so we will be getting underway here in just a matter of time with the builds.
Well, this Cunning Stunts team, they have a little bit more practice as a team and in tournaments like ESLs on a weekly basis. So I think they really have the upper hand here just based upon their players and their team comp as a whole. But this blue team, Raw Crash, definitely a really strong roster like I mentioned previously. So I think they can give them a run for their money. Ultimately, though, I think Cunning Stunts has the upper hand. I think we're going to see them take this series, but I would not be surprised to see blue team, that is Raw Crash, take a game off of them.
All right, why don't we go ahead and look at the builds here and fire right on through them. Why don't you go ahead and run us through the red team builds here for us, and we'll move right along here into the first game of this next matchup here.
Taking a look at Backpack, he is going to be playing the Shoutbow for this team with the Sword, Warhorn, Longbow, Soldier Rune, Celestial Amulet, running 10463. Next up, we got Sun, which is Sunfish. He's going to be playing the Medigar for this team with the Hammer, Scepter Focus, running with Runes of the Pack, Berserker Amulet, running 01616. Next up, we got Cynical. He's going to be playing the Selly Rifle for this team, running with the Vamp Runes. His traits are going to be 60044. Stalacta going to be playing the DD Ellie for this team with obviously the DD, running with Runes of the Pack, Celestial Amulet, running 00266. And finally, Cade, going to be the Thief of this team. He's going to be playing DP Shortbow, Vamp Runes, running 60206. Fairly standard comp setup that we expect from this team. Nothing too special about their builds or team comp as a whole.
Yeah, Cade being one of the little plus ones there as of a recent development there. Their normal thief, Anya, couldn't play in TOL today. I believe Anya is actually on vacation there, so we're going to be seeing actually Cade obviously in that space. Cade played in the ESL last week for this team and played very, very well actually, so I'm hoping to see a similar level of play from Cade here today for this team, because that will definitely be exciting to watch, especially if he's going to be running that Bloodlust Sigil again, which he is actually running there on his Shortbow. But why don't we go ahead and look over at this blue team builds here. We have Schnicky up first. That's going to be Schnickerdoodles. He's going to be running Dagger Pistol here. He's going to be running Vamp Runes. He's going to be running that Panic Strike build there, 60206 for the traits. Obviously, Schnicky a little bit more versed with that Scepter Focus typically. However, he is going to be running that Panic Strike build for his team here today, because that's what they really wanted in their composition. If we look now at Karina here, Karina's actually going to be playing Dagger Ellie. He's going to be running Rune of the Holbrack with Celestial Amulet, the traits being 00266 here. Moving on now to Tau. Tau is going to be running Shoutbow with Rune of the Soldier as well as Celestial Amulet. He's going to be running the trait setup of 10463. And next up we do have Blaze. He's going to be running Shatter Mesmer here. He does have that Sword Torch there with Rune of the Traveler actually, obviously with the Berserker Amulet and the trait setup of 44006, taking Mass Invis over the Moa there. And next up we have Marvin, aka When Our Lips Touch here. He's going to be running running that DPS guard with the great sword, or sorry, with the hammer and scepter focus here, with the Rune of the Pack and the trade setup of 01616. So why don't we go ahead and get both these teams readied up and into the match here, because I want to see these two teams fight. I really want to see these two teams fight. Cunning Stunts, obviously one of the teams that's been able to contend with Absurd in the past, having a couple of hiccups as of late. Not really ever able to get back to where they were, a couple, I believe 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point, where they really kind of got pretty close in both maps in the ESL staging that they really did quite well in. But hopefully they can get something going for themselves, or even this blue team, looking pretty solid on the roster as well, potentially might be able to do something, because, I'd really like to see this finals in TOL really, really competitive.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of these members of this RAR Crash team, they haven't played tournaments in quite some time. Karina, who is Glute So Pumped. We got Schnicky on the Thief, and we've got Marvin on the Guardian. They used to participate in a lot of ESL tournaments in the past. We haven't seen them participate in over, at least a month or two now. So interested to see them come back into the scene. Playing, looks like off classes. Schnicky used to that Scepter Focus Ellie build that we usually see, and Karina used to play a Condi Necro. So really interested to see how they're going to be playing out on the Thief and the Elementalist for this team here. So really excited to see what they're going to bring to the table as we do wait for these teams to ready up. But you did mention that this red team, Team Risk, or Cunning Stunts for that matter, you mentioned 3 or 4 weeks ago they were really strong. I think they're still as strong, but they're just getting used to this new, I don't know if it's a new roster for sure, but they definitely have some subs on their team, and I think they have for the past few weeks. And like you mentioned, Anya is on vacation. Cade definitely on the same level, if not, up even better. He has so much competitive experience. He even has LAN experience for that matter. So Cade, definitely a suitable replacement for Anya. Excited to see what he's going to be able to do in this tournament, as we saw an excellent performance from him last week in the ESL Cup.
Yeah, it looks like we are only waiting on one last person here to be ready here, and that is Glutes. It looks like both teams are completely ready, so we will be right underway here in just 10 seconds as we go ahead and look at the splits here.
Yeah, let's take a look at what both teams are going to be doing. I think we're going to see RAR Crash actually make a push for the three-point player, at least send 4 members through the beach. No crosses coming out whatsoever for Cunning Stunts. Be surprised if we're no three-point play. Maybe it's more stealth coming out for RAR Crash. So it looks like they're looking to make a huge burst move, not even sending anyone onto the midpoint. Even though Warriors in stealth right now, they did throw it on the portal, looking to spike someone out. Even more stealth coming out. Cunning Stunts definitely knows something's up right now.
Yeah, obviously it looks like we have red team once again going for another stealth up. So both teams just kind of baiting each other's stealth right now as both teams really try to get something going. The opening from blue team comes out onto Stal. Stal taking the most of it right now. He's at about 10% HP, and he does actually get taken down. So he's in downstate here, looking pretty solid for the blue team as they're all at 100% HP as well. Looks like the Vapor form from Stal is going to go ahead and pull him on out of there. Looks like Stal going to get the res off there, but blue team does still have a good amount of control in this fight already.
Yeah, Backpack threw down the banner, but Stal was in mist form, so that was a wasted cooldown coming out for Cunning Stunts. They're definitely back into this fight, though. Each team holding the one cap. This is tied up 25-25 right now. A lot of heat going down onto Glutes. Glutes is taking the downstate. Tau is about to go down as well. Is he going to get the banner off? Banner comes down, not able to get Glutes as he misformed over to the steps as well. Tau goes into the downstate as well, looking really good for Cunning Stunts at the start of this game.
Yeah, definitely an unfortunate banner there, not able to get anything out of it there. Red team able to turn back the pressure that was forced onto Stal at the beginning there and really take it to him in this team fight here. Looks like blue team going for the res here. Ton of cleave being dropped on it, though. They aren't able to actually get it off, and in the process, they take out Tau as well. Looks like right now we actually do see Marvin, when our Leps touch, taken out as well. So this is huge for the red team. They have almost every member of the blue team here, this RAR Crash team, out into downstate right now. They're going to be staggered a little bit here as they do also have the 2-cap. Looks like we actually see Glutes So Pumped getting that decap, and we actually see a member of the red team here, Senda, also getting a decap as well. If we look over, we actually see here it is, Glutes taking that. But if we slide over to this keep fight, we can actually see a little bit of a 1v1 happening. However, it looks like Schnicky is going to go ahead and opt to get out of that and let Cade get back to full control of that node. But it's just a matter of time until red team does have a 3-cap in their favor, as Stal is going to go for the full cap here.
Yeah, it looks like this blue team a little spread out. They're doing a great job of regrouping now. They looked like they were trying to send some people to mine point, knowing they can't get that spread out if they want to win this game. So they're going to push back over to the henge, fight in the corridor over here, trying to make a push on to Cynical. Cynical under a lot of heat. Looks like he might be taking the downstate. Vampirins are going to pop into the mist form here. Doesn't have his heal up for another 5 seconds. They're just going to chase him down. Decap coming out over at the henge. He's taken into the downstate here. If they can get this stomp. Oh, good knockback coming out from the Elementalist on the blue team, able to make sure they don't get that res. This is a good fight for this blue team to get back into the game.
Yeah, that was a huge play from Glutes there. Glutes able to get that knockback with the Air 5 there and push them back and secure the fact that kill will actually be taken down. So great job from Glutes there. It looks like they're going to follow up the pressure now onto Backpack. Backpack very, very low here as well, and it looks like he's running low on cooldowns. He still has to shake it off, and he's going to try to turn some pressure down with Sunfish there. However, they both get the worst of it. Sun has to be pulled off a little bit here. Backpack right now very, very low here. Being saved for the time being by his healing state, but not for long as he does get dropped, and the banish happens as well there. So we do see the stomp come out from Marvin here, who does get the JI stomp off. However, he accepts the death with that one as well, and Sunfish follows suit with another JI stomp. So there it is, 2 in a row with the JI stomp. Style trying to get something going onto Tau here, but it looks like both members of the red team here going instead for, I believe that is Glutes here. Glutes taking a little bit of pressure. It looks like both members of the blue team trying to get something to go up.
It was a portal play, though.
The
portal play coming out for this Raw Crash team, and they're not going to leave anyone over at the mine, so Backpack able to get that free decap over at the mine point, as we do see Marvin trying to get a cap over at the henge. He's going to be met by Cynical. They're going to be in a 2v1 situation if we see Blaze stick around, but over at the keep, we do see Stalacta under a lot of pressure against Tau, and it looks like Schnicky, Sun, and Cade going to plus this fight, so we're seeing the 2 cap coming out for Cunning Stunts, looking really good now as they start to build their lead towards this, almost 5 minutes into this game. They're looking really strong.
Yeah, they had a great opener at the beginning there, taking out Style really early on and having that 5v4 there. Definitely could have gotten a little bit of more cleave pressure there and secured that kill. However, the banner was pretty quick. I mean, you can't downplay that at all. Backpack really fast about that, and missing that banner as well onto Glutes was huge. I mean, that was definitely a big issue there for them in that opening fight, and that's really where all this came from, and it has just all been about snowballing since then. We actually see Sunfish going into a little bit of 1v1 with Blaze here. He knocks him right off the point at the perfect frame there, which is actually pretty impressive considering the fact that he is from Tasmania. He actually hates when I say that, but he is Australian, so he has that huge ping, so that's pretty impressive to see him pull off. However, looks like right now red team getting some control back on keep here, and looks like Sunfish following now onto Blaze, trying to get that final killing blow.
Yeah, so we are probably going to see Style get that cap back onto the keep. We do see Glutes coming off respawn, just kind of sitting around beach right now. His team, they're kind of lost right now. They've got 2 people fully dead. Looks like Blaze was taken down around the mine point. They're going to get that decap. Looks like Backpack going for that to get the decap. So we're going to see a 2 cap, possibly 3 cap coming out for this Cunning Stunts team. Unless we see the decap coming out from Glutes off of respawn. He's going to get that, so that's pretty good for him. But despite that, they're down almost 200 points now. This isn't looking pretty good for them. If they want to get back into this game, they're going to have to pull off something they haven't done this game yet, and that's winning a team fight, which we haven't seen.
Yeah, that red team is going to cap out that mine node. So once again with a 2 cap there, I mean, red team looking very solid here. Team risk really, or rather, Cunning Stunts. I have to think about that every single time. Cunning Stunts, doing a very, very good job here in their round of 8, looking pretty impressive. If they're able to do this and follow suit in the game too, and provide the same showing here, the same level of dominance, they're going to be looking pretty solid going into their round of 4, their top 4 match, which obviously will be a huge for them because, I mean, at some point they might have to go up against a team like Absurd.
Yeah, it's definitely true, and we'll have to see what they're able to do for the rest of this game and moving on into game number 2. Backpack under a lot of heat, though, trying to get out of there. Has plenty of cooldowns left, it looks like, and a lot of support come out for the rest of the team. They're just going to try and hold on to this 2 cap and ride it out. Looks like Marvin is taking in the downstate. We're going to see Schnicky going to the downstate as well. The banner come out. Going to res both of them, but Marvin once again taken back into the down state, so we're going to see an excellent team fight for Cunning, Stunts, Cade, and it looks like Schnicky going to be in a 1v1 here, looking really good for Cade. Schnicky under a lot of heat. He's going to be taken down by Cyndaquil and Cade, and it looks like a bit of disarray, just coming out from this blue team. They can't really seem to get their feet underneath them and win a fight for that match.
Yeah, we actually see Stal right now in a 1v1 here with Blaze. Blaze putting down the portal so that he can maybe come back later as he tries to get away, perhaps. However, right now it doesn't look like he's going to be leaving anytime soon. We actually see a little bit of a skirmish happening outside between both DPS Gardens, both Sunfish and Marvin. Marvin decided to come in and put some +1 down onto Stal. Stal taking a pretty hefty amount of damage. However, we actually see Sunfish doing the same, not able to really get the same amount of damage off, but Stal able to recover for the time being here, cycling back into the node here. And we actually see Stal now taken out by the DPS Garden and Schnicky. Schnicky coming in with the backstab, getting that sigil proc as well with a double burst. Banner does come down from for Stal. Stal able to get back up, so Backpack once again saving Stal here from a unfortunate demise and able to keep this team fight going for his team.
Yeah, we do see Blaze taken down here. Tau is taken down at the midpoint as well. So we are going to be seeing Cunning, Stunts more than likely, unless there's a huge throw in the in the near future, taking this game number 1. Wouldn't be surprised if blue team just kind of plays it out for fun for the next minute or so, and thinking about game number 2 and the improvements they can make to actually take a game. But this Cunning, Stunts team just really sold. Definitely going to be a tough one for Raw Crash to take out.
Yeah, and if blue team gives up something like they did in the beginning there with really taking a big hit on that opener there, not able to really solidify anything from that 4v5 that they were able to get out. Granted, it was only for a couple seconds, but that's the kind of thing that you really have to take advantage of. If they're able to, if this Team Risk or Cunning Stunts team is able to do the same thing versus them in the Legacy match, I mean, we're going to see probably an even bigger deficit than what we see in this game here, with a 3-cap happening once again.
Yeah, it's usually if we see something like this happen on Forest, where 500 to 145 win, we're going to see something very similar on Legacy. It can often, teams can turn things around if there were just major mistakes being had, but a very strong performance for Cunning, Stunts, able to absolutely dominate in that first match. I would be surprised to see them not dominate in the next one unless we see some huge turnaround come out for Raw Crash.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we talked about a little bit before the match, Cade really displaying a level of dominance that we haven't seen him display in I mean, to be fair, quite a while here, playing probably better than at least I've seen him in some months right now. Last ESL, we actually saw him getting up to 25 Bloodlust stacks and people being absolutely blown away by that. And I do want to point out that once again, this game, he did manage to get his 25 Bloodlust stacks, obviously helping out with a lot of his sustained damage and burst play there. I mean, Cade's looking good right now. You can't put that down from him. So he's looking really solid right now. Definitely helping out his team here. Cunning Stunts, Risky Business, Team Risk, Cloud Gaming. I feel like I have to go through all their names every single time because no one knows who I'm talking about every single time. But they're looking pretty solid right now. We see both teams going ahead and getting ready. So why don't we go ahead and get into the game cam so we can get you into game 2 here on this matchup here between Raw Crash and Cunning Stunts.
Yeah, you pointed out Cade doing an excellent job. This is definitely the best we've seen Cade perform in the recent months, or overall tournaments for that matter. He's done an excellent job these last couple of weeks, and definitely in the last match that we just saw. So props to him for getting back into the game, looking really strong right now. I'm excited to see more of him in this tournament if they're able to move on, and definitely in future tournaments if he sticks with this team. Or, Anya, definitely the main thief for the team. Cade just a substitute, but if Cade happens to get on another team in the future, I look forward to seeing if he's going to get back into it. But overall, a great performance coming out for this Cunning Stunts team. Excited to see them move on if they're able to take out Raw Crash in this Legacy of the Full Fire map.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to go ahead and get both teams readied up here. And once we do, this will be game 2 of the last round of 8 that we will be viewing here. The next matchup provided that this red team, Cunning Stunts, can take this, this will be the last game before we move on to the semifinals. However, blue team, obviously, like we said, has the opportunity to take this. I mean, this is the map that you can really get some snowballs going. You can really gain some really strong momentum and turn fights around. Obviously, the PvE Lord Rush, something that's a little bit polarizing in this community. Some people love it, some people hate it. Obviously, able to turn things around, provided you get it at the right time as well. So, I mean, these are big things that we have to take into account here. However, I'm going to have to put my money on this Cunning Stunts team here. They're playing so well. Cade's really showing out here today as well. You know, Backpack actually playing very, very well. Very, very great. I mean, he's playing phenomenally here. Nailing all those banners, supporting his team, doing all the things that you expect from a Shoutboard Warrior. Obviously, some people, you know, I think it's fair to say Shoutboard Warrior, you know, skill floor a little bit on the low side, you know, but I mean, he's still playing it very, very well. You have to give it to him, coming out and playing very hard, you know.
If we do see Cunning Stunts win this next matchup here, they are going to be taking on Booty Baker. I do want to point out, Little People Big World did take out Genesis 2-0, so they're going to be moving on to play the Abjured in the semifinal matchup. That's going to be very interesting. I'm surprised they took out Genesis there, but we do have this game number 2 underway for you guys. Take a look at the opening splits for both teams here, Hurix.
All right, looking at it right now, we see blue team kind of rolling together right now. It looks like we see blue team's Elementalist here. That will be Glutes moving over to their home node. He's going to go ahead and cap that out. So we actually see a similar setup from this red team. We see red team stealthing up onto Cade here. Cade getting some stealth for his team, and it looks like Schnicky as well doing the same thing with his Mesmer here. Red team looking for a target. They do find Tao. Looks like they're not getting some early burst on him, however. It looks like they're just going to try to put some sustained pressure down. However, if we look at this fight on Corey, it looks like Backpack at about 60% health as well. But they do manage to get Tao down right now on this fight here, and they are able to take him out. So if they can make sure to keep him down and cap out that graveyard, which they do have control of right now, they might be able to move over to this waterfall in a 2v1 here with Sunfish and Cade, two huge burst classes to potentially take out Glutes here on this node right now.
Yeah, Glutes needs some support. Otherwise, Sunfish and Cade going to destroy him. Has all of his cooldowns, but despite that, he's not going to last too long. We do see Blaze, and it looks like Schnicky going to be moving over to this waterfall. Holding on to a 2-cap right now. Is going to get out of this fight with the Lightning Flash, but things are looking pretty decent for Raw Crash, but overall, we do see the decap coming out over on the waterfall node. Glutes going to be taken into the downstate there, and it looks like they're actually going to take this 2v3 fight. No, it's 3v3, excuse me, as we saw Cyndaquil plus this fight, and Glutes not able to make it into the Shadow Refuge. And we're going to see, looks like Cunning Stunts taking over the waterfall node, going to be holding on to the 2-cap.
Looks like we see Sunfish actually taking a huge amount of pressure here from Schnicky. Schnicky trying to go for some backstab pressure. Gets loaded with Condis, however. It looks like the DPS Guardian from Red Team here, Cunning Stunts, trying to get some damage on him as well. Sunfish there. It looks like they're going to be moving down into the mid-fight here. Sunfish trying to get an opening on this blue team, but blue team is all over him here as we see Rod Crash turning the damage pressure onto him. However, he does manage to get off his shelter and his RF and able to turn all over Schnicky right now. Schnicky forcing the Vamp Runes, forced a Heartseeker right on out of there. He's like, I am out of here. I want none of that. We actually see Sunfish putting some pressure down now on Tao as well, along with the other members of this red team here, and we actually see Tao very, very low. Red team already with this 2-cap looking very, very solid in these team fights as well. I think we're going to be seeing, like I said before, some early dominance here, some great momentum from this red team, and really taking it to this blue team Rock Crash here very early on in this legacy map.
Yeah, pretty good opener that did come out for Raw Crash, but we did see Cunning Stunts make him move back and able to get that 2-cap here, looking really strong, able to take out Schnicky and Tao. Looks like Marvin's getting pretty low as well. If they're able to solidify a couple more kills, they could look to take the 3-cap over at the quarry, but Respawn's coming out for Raw Crash. He's actually... Looks like Tao going to be making the push from the midpoint rather than going and getting his home point at the waterfall. We do see Backpack coming around off of Respawn, or actually back through the graveyard, able to get the decap over at the quarry. So looking really strong, able to build up over a 100-point lead in just a couple seconds here for this Cunning Stunts team.
Yeah, we actually see Red Team doing a great job of stringing out the blue team here, kind of getting them into these little 2v1 and 1v1 situations here where they just aren't having favorable matchups and just stringing them out and making sure that they always have at least equal numbers in all of these fights here. We actually see Style moving over to cut off three members actually, of this Raw Crash team who are going to try and crash in onto Style here to get some damage off on him, but he's going to peel around. He's looking safe for the time being, but Red Team definitely needs to make some moves to come on over here. Looks like Cade, first one to report in here. We actually see Backpack as well as Sunfish moving in as well. Sunfish probably going to go for an opener onto Tao here. Looks like the main target is going to be Tao. Looks like not able to get off the early pressure that we expect from both of those members of the team there coming in. However, Tao is still getting way too much pressure here. He's forced to peel out, and it looks like he's going to be followed out here by three members here of the red team. However, they're going to decide to turn around.
Cade getting pretty low, though. Vampirin's popping for Cade. He does have Shadow Refuge. I mean, this is a 4v4 situation, as we do have. Looks like Glute's coming off a respawn, going to go out his front base here. We do see Schnicky throwing down the SR Cade on his trail, but over at the waterfall, we do see Stal taking into the downstate. The stomp coming out. Oh, Marvin not able to get that. Miss 4 coming out for Stal here. Backpack doesn't have banner, trying to get the res. They do get the res onto Stal. The decap coming out on the waterfall. We're going to see Glutes able to get the decap at the quarry. This is, I mean, despite the decaps coming out, this is still not looking good for Blue whatsoever.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to be seeing Glutes try to +1 that Thief fight that we actually saw between both Thieves there. But however, we actually see Red Team really handedly taking this waterfall fight. Looks like they're just going to go for the cleave leave style to get the full cap once again as they move back into this mid fight where Cade is actually doing fairly solid and keeping things together for himself. However, we actually see Glutes on the point already, so Backpack's going to have to get something going for his team as he waits for his other teammates to roll in. We do still have three members of the blue team down here, so Red is going to be able to take out Glutes fairly quickly here as they are going to be in a 3v1. We actually see Cade and Schnicky once again in a 1v1 on the quarry node there, and they're going to be battling that one out. Looks like Cade right now, Cade very low here. Looks like he's at about 10%, actually losing to Schnicky here, which is fairly surprising because Cade has actually been doing very, very well versus Schnicky. Schnicky actually does take Cade out there. Not sure if he's fully aware of that, but he's going to go ahead and try to make a move over to Corey. However, Cyndaquil is all over him at the moment.
Yeah, 2-cap in the decap, still in favor of Cunning Stunts. Over at the quarry, it looks like they're going to force Schnicky out of there as Cade, and it looks like Cade and Stalactite are going to be pushing over there, or excuse me, Cyndaquil able to get that full cap over at the quarry. So we're going to see the 3-cap potentially coming out from Cunning Stunts, and they're looking to move on into the semifinals, looking really strong here. Total dominance for the most part, aside from the opening, split coming out for Raw Crash, able to get the 2-cap, the only 2-cap they've actually held this game. And the only lead they had for a little bit there, but Cunning Stunts definitely looking just as strong as they did in the last game, if not even stronger.
Yeah, that 3-cap being held for so long, so much dominance being asserted here by this red team here. We actually see yet another huge brawl happening on the waterfall where we actually see Sunfish locking in Tao once again into a ring here. Not a lot of damage, pressure followed up there onto Tao. He's able to survive that with pretty much all of his HP there. And actually, red team, for the first time, not looking too hot in this fight. We actually do see Schnicky now in downstate at the mid-fight, so he's going to be out. And it looks like red team is going to be able, in time, to get Backpack to kind of come over. And just in time, actually, as Sunfish does just drop right here, but they're able to get the res just in time here. Looks like they're going to be looking to take a target, and it looks like Tao is going to be that target. However, we have to, you have to take note that this is three members here. Marvin did managed to +1 this, did manage to slide over, so this is going to be a huge 3v3. I don't think it's going to be pivotal by any means. I mean, I think this game is, pretty much over at this point. I mean, 474 to 63 here
there's
with
no
the 2-cap rolling.
Whatsoever.
Blue team already with two downstates here. So
we're going to see Cunning Stunts take this game number 2 in total dominance for the most part. I expected a little bit better of a series, to be honest, just given the rosters for the red team. But total dominance coming out from Cunning Stunts, able to take that game number 2 and move into the semifinals where they will be taking on Booty Bakery. I think Booty Bakery is going to give them a little bit more of a challenge. I really look forward to seeing that matchup. But on the upper side of the bracket, we do have the Abjured against Little People Big World, as Little People Big World were able to take out Genesis. They are a team that we have seen in recent ESL Cups. I look forward to seeing what they're going to be able to bring to the table against the Abjured. Obviously, the Abjured definitely favored in that matchup, but we could see them, give them a run for their money if they're able to start out with a great opening split. We'll have to see what they're going to make of that game.